You have worked on operating systems and you have also worked with Microsoft Office package. But what if I want to go ahead and transfer my documents, my presentation, my Word document or my Excel sheet to a person who is sitting 500 kilometers away from me? I can definitely not travel that far if I have to do that every day. So what do I do? Well, networking is the answer for that. A network is basically a collection of computing devices which are connected in various ways in order to communicate and share resources. These ways are the connections between computers in a network using physical wires or cables and devices like routers, etc. However, sometimes the connections are wireless and they use radio waves or infrared signals. Basically, when we have to connect on a network, when I have to talk to people who are sitting on their computers, I use the term node or host. It refers to any device on a network. But what is also important is the speed at which my data is being transferred. So data transfer rate is the speed at which my data, the bits and the bytes, transfer through the wires or wirelessly at a particular place. However, that speed should be very, very fast. Otherwise, if it takes 2 days for me to transfer the data 500 kilometers far off, well, it's almost useless. Now, data transfer rate again is the key issue in computer networks. Now, computer networks work on a model. Basic model which we are going to talk about is the client-server model. A client is a computer which requests for resources in order to communicate, whereas the server is a computer again. However, it is at a higher level than the client because it is the one which provides the resources. The resources can change according to the needs of the clients. I might ask Google to go ahead and tell me how many networks are there in the world, and Google would go ahead and reply to me. Now, I am the client and Google is the server. There are two types of servers basically, a file server and a web server. The computer that stores and manages files for multiple users on a network make up a file server, whereas a computer dedicated to responding to requests for web pages specifically or from the browser clients is a web server. How do these communicate actually? Let us break it down into smaller modules. I am sitting in a building and I am on the 5th floor. The person sitting next to me is on the 3rd floor. Technically, he's not next, but why I said next is because I would be talking to him or her just like he's sitting next to me via internet. Well, that sounds easy. However, what happens is, in this particular case, I have a very small area to cover to talk on a network. This small geographical area, a network which connects a relatively small number of machines in a relatively small area, is known as a local area network. Locally connected computers. When local area networks combine together through devices called as gateway, they make a wide area network. Just like it is similar to a fact that you have a house in a locality. Now, one house makes one local area network and various houses together combine and they make a complete locality. Various localities combined together, they go ahead and make a city. So within the city, when I have local area networks connecting from one city to another city, I get a metropolitan area. A network which is going to connect two or more local area networks over a large geographic distance make up a wide area network. Now, there are certain configurations according to which we communicate between the cities. Each computer has a wire going along, which combines with another computer. That computer might be at a distance. However, there are ways in which we have the arrangement of computers and the servers done. This arrangement is known as a topology. We have various configurations of topologies like ring topology, star, bus. So a ring topology is a configuration in which all the nodes work in a closed loop and in which messages travel in one direction. It's just like Ring-a Roses we have been playing, and we move along in one direction and all of us are connected together through our hands. Topology does not mean exactly how the computers are seated, but how the local area network is situated or configured. That's what determines the topology. A star topology means that there is a node which acts as a center and to which all the others are connected, and through this central node the messages are sent. In bus topology, all the nodes are connected to a single communication line that carries message in both the directions. Now let's try and get to know what basically is Internet. Internet is just a collection of local area networks combined together in chunks, large chunks, and they are spread all over the world. Now, how exactly the messages are sent across the globe? Using the internet. I mean, we talk about internet every day, but what happens in an internet? How do we communicate? Basically, if I'm sitting in state of Punjab in India, and my friend is sitting in New York City in the United States of America, and I have to send a message to him or her via internet. How the channelization is done, let's see. First of all, my message, which I am going to use an application-based message, an application software for that, and on an operating system, say a smartphone uses Android, so I'm going to send my message on Android and say I am using an example of WhatsApp. So on WhatsApp, I am going to send this message to my friend sitting in New York. Now the message transfers in a flash of a second. However, let's break the procedure. What happens is, from my phone, the message transfers to the local server. From the local server, it goes to the main server, which is sitting or situated in New Delhi. From New Delhi via satellite, it is going to be transferred to the server in New York. And from New York City, it is going to be transferred in the smaller portion wherever locally my friend is sitting. We need an internet service provider in order to transfer the messages. It is a company that provides other companies or individuals the access to the internet. And there is a backbone or a set of networks which carry internet traffic. There are various technologies available that you can use to connect a home computer to the internet. Basically, a phone modem converts computer data into an analog audio signal for transfer over a telephone line. And then a modem at the destination converts it back again into data. A modem is basically a device which converts data from analog to digital, digital to analog, and so on. Now this device is a fixed one. I need telephone lines to transfer the data. So a digital subscriber line uses regular copper phone lines in order to transfer this digital data to and from one phone company's central office. Broadband basically gives the connection in which transfer speeds are faster than 128 bits per second. So digital subscriber line connections and cable modems are broadband connections. Now there are two terms which we are going to use, which is called as download and upload. Download is basically when you download something from the internet. That means from the server, I am transferring data onto my local computer. And upload would mean from the computer, my computer, local computer, I am transferring data up to the server. So speed for downloads, which is getting data from the internet to your home computer, may not be same as uploads, which is sending data from your home computer to the internet. Because server works faster and your computer is at a slower speed. Server is like a teacher. So the speed at which a teacher answers the questions of the students is faster than the speed at which a student answers the same question to the teacher. To improve the efficiency of transferring information over a shared communication line, the messages are divided into fixed size number packets. I cannot push my complete video file altogether into a cable because it has a capacity and the cable has a capacity to get the data transferred. So what happens is my whole complete message is divided into smaller pieces which are called as packets. Each packet is further divided into further smaller pieces called as frames, and then frames are further divided into pieces called as bits and bytes. So these bits and bytes are transferred over your telephone lines, and then after that these bits and bytes combine together into frames. Frames further combine together into packets, and these packets then combine together into the complete package to get transferred to your computer. There are certain standards upon which we can transfer our data. The Open System Interconnection, or OSI, is the standard which is used in order to transfer the data from one computer to another. A protocol is basically a language. Two computers, if they need to communicate with each other, they have to have the same language. If I am using English, but you do not know English, it would become very difficult for you to understand me. Hence, it becomes very difficult for one computer to understand another if the protocols are not same. And for every piece of word or work, there is a different set of protocol which works. So, in order to communicate for two computers, we use protocol stack. These network protocols are layered such that one relies on the other, which is under it. And this stack works like a ladder. So in order to climb up the ladder, you work from one piece to another and you reach the destination. Similarly, you have to get down the same way. Two types of protocols we use. One is TCP and one is IP. TCP is Transmission Control Protocol and IP is Internet Protocol. Basically, this software breaks messages into packets, hands them off to the IP software for delivery, and then reassembles the packets at their destination. IP deals with the routing of packets through interconnected networks to their final destination. UDP is an alternative to TCP. The main difference is that TCP is highly reliable, however, performance is decreased, whereas UDP is less reliable but generally faster. Other protocols which we use are Simple Mail Transfer Protocol for mails, File Transfer Protocols for files, Hypertext Protocol for internet, browsers, etc. Since internet can allow access to so many things, we're transferring files, we're transferring data, we're transferring so many things all over the internet. So there might be people who are trying to steal that information also. A firewall protects that. It is a machine and its software which serve as a special gateway to a network, protecting it from inappropriate access. It filters the network traffic that comes in, checking the validity of the messages, and perhaps denying some messages altogether.